Most of us really know that a degree in computer science or information technology is most sought after these days in engineering colleges. So in the best of best engineering colleges, this degree can cost you somewhere about approximately anywhere between 15 to 20 lakhs in the 4-year time frame. We know most of them get selected in the campus. So having said that, is it really worth it spending about 15 lakhs and above to get that degree? What are the topics you are going to learn? Is there alternatives approach through which you can learn this IT and CSE subjects, whether that is possible to learn in case if you're not able to afford 15 to 20 lakhs. That is what we are going to see in this presentation. So to know about, to get into the details, first we need to understand what are the main topics which are covered in the IT or CSE syllabus. The first one is the algorithms, data structure, programming skills, particularly on Java, Python. I mean, in these days in the sense in the last 5 to 10 years, it's around Java, Python. But earlier it was, of course, you need to know C, C++. It's all the way the programming evolution has happened. It's from C, C++, then came Java, and Python is extensively used these days. So this is one: algorithms, data structure, basic programming skills on Java, Python. So all 4 years, at least up to 7th semester, there are at least one paper revolving around either the algorithms, data structure, or probably the programming language. So that is one thing. Number 2 is relational database theory, associated database theory, in this sense like how the data is stored in an enterprise. That is where the relational database, it could be through Oracle, SQL. So there is a theory part, relational database theory. Normalization, that is normalization involves the design aspect as well. You just cannot go creating the tables. There are a background to it as how you design it, and there is an associated theory and the process of normalization. So those things you could learn in the as part of your computer science or IT degree. And then the accessing the data, that is where the SQL comes into picture, that is the structured query language. And perhaps in the recent times with the big data, there is also NoSQL, that is in the recent times. So relational database is a critical one in the CS degree, and associated tools like the SQL, that is the structured query language. Web-based application development and its deployment, like your HTMLs and the JavaScripting, the front-end tool, and these days you will also hear about the full stack developer, wherein it involves basically like you need to know the front-end tools like HTML, JavaScript, and as well as the backend database, that is the relational database, and that is the name which is called as the full stack developer. Earlier, about a decade back, it was separate. I mean, there will be an developer analyst for the backend, and could be an analyst developer for the front end, which involves HTML, Java, and all. So now it is the full stack developer is still a hot cake at this point of time. So this is one topic, application development deployment. You'll be learning on that as well as a part of the curriculum. Business intelligence. This requires little bit of domain knowledge. So maybe in the final year as an elective you might learn on this. Online analytical processing, data warehousing. This is a high level, so at a high level they might teach as an elective, but they don't go deep into it. So these are the in your 4 years of engineering degree on CS, this is what is the focus area. And apart from that, some other topics like graphic compiler design, operating system, other management and engineering topics are also covered, but you might not use it when you go for your job. You might not use all this that much, but of course graphics, maybe if you're a game designer then you'll tend to use the graphics, but otherwise it is fairly less. Compiler design, absolutely no. Operating system, good to know, but it is not essential. But there are theory part as well, and there could be some could have practical labs as also as a part of your CS degree. So 1 to 5 is what you will have, and apart from that, in the recent times you will also have these topics, particularly when you get into the 3rd year or 4th year, like microservices, which is Docker, Kubernetes. This is in the last 4-5 years is what this is growing exponentially. Containerization, so that is what is microservices. Internet of Things, then machine virtualization. No longer you will have you'll be using a physical server, you'll be they call it VM, which is on cloud. So basically that's a cloud technology. Machine virtualization, you need to have a virtual machine up and running in no time, so that is machine virtualization. More importantly, yes, cloud infrastructure and platform. So from on-premises you'll be moving to the cloud terminology. So this is where the future is, that is the cloud infrastructure and platform. This is you need to really focus on the cloud infrastructure. There are many of them, like the Google, the Azure, or the Oracle Cloud itself, and then you have Amazon as well. So cloud infrastructure, this is a critical topic. So you need to really focus on it, the cloud infrastructure and platform. And machine learning, data science, big data are the hot topics which needs to be covered as well. So these are the niche topics, and you need to, as far as information technology or computer science is concerned, a person need to do lot of research, lot of analysis, and do his own learning more than what is taught in the college. So he has to do his own learning, and because you hardly find capable faculties, because being a new topic, you may or may not find faculty who has good practical knowledge on all this topic, because it's about 4 to 5 years old, so it's pretty new, pretty hot. So that is where you need to put effort in learning these topics. So to have this, whatever I said, like getting to know about the algorithms, the programming language like Java, Python, and then the database, that is the relational database, that is SQL, then all these topics, microservices, internet, machine virtualization, cloud, all this, earlier days you need to have appropriate tools, lab setup, and this incurs cost, hardware setup, maintenance. It's very difficult. If you don't get into a kind of an institute or an engineering college, it's fairly difficult to get a lab setup, or else you got to go into a private training institute to get trained, because they might have the relevant lab facility available. So these days, can a person learn all of them on his own without getting into an engineering college or without getting into an institute, that is a private training institute? Is it possible? So if you look at it, the answer is yes, it's possible to learn on your own. So that is where, so again, it needs to be cost effective. That is more important. That is, without spending lakhs of rupees, can you learn them? With the time and effort, can you learn them? The answer is, of course, yes. That's where e-learning plus cloud infrastructure. Because if you look at it, all the key players like Azure, AWS, Amazon, Google and Oracle provide always, not always, they provide a kind of free access to their cloud infra. And with the cloud infra, with the e-learning, maybe e-learning courses on probably in Udemy or even sometimes in YouTube, you can learn how to use them, and all of the topics like your how to get, because you have a Python environment when you get an infrastructure, that is the cloud infrastructure. And then some of them, like with Oracle, they also provide the creation of the autonomous database itself. So that way you can very easily provision a database, Oracle database, which is an RDBMS database. So you can learn SQL, PL SQL, web deployment itself. That is through the that is through a virtual machine. You can create a web server. Not only the web server, you can even create Dockers. So all these are possible. Again, most of them, that is Azure, AWS, Google, provide a free tier. That is all, I mean, you can use it for free just for some time. But like Oracle has a provision all called as always free tier, wherein you can have two virtual machines, that is the infrastructure, database, that is the autonomous database. You can provision them, so thereby you can learn SQL, PL SQL, Oracle Apex, and with the infrastructure you can create the virtual machine. You can learn Linux scripting, shell scripting, and then you can create Dockers. So all this without, I mean, you don't need to invest anything. That's the point. All that is required is probably you require a laptop, and because Oracle Cloud Infrastructure provides us a always free tier, that is the infrastructure through which you can create the virtual machine through Udemy courses. In fact, I do have Udemy courses on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, so you can provision, you can get access to the free tier, you can provision the virtual machine, you can provision the database. And not only that, a more important point, machine learning. In fact, machine learning also, when you want to have machine learning provision, probably you need to have some installation of Python and allied libraries. But with the Oracle database, they provide that is on the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, they provide machine learning environment as free. So you can learn from the Oracle infrastructure all this with a free as a free tier. It's offered, so you can learn them. All that is required is a laptop. So there is a kind of a tectonic shift which is going to happen, towards the cloud environment, cloud infrastructure, which is offering as free access, and with with the e-learning, with a fraction of a cost, you can learn all of them. So it's a good time. All that is required is few dollars through which you can learn everything. Thank you.